When people think about walking into a courtroom, they usually expect to see emotions running high: tears, regret, maybe even a last attempt at an apology. But that's not what happened when Brooke Bailey stepped in front of the judge. Brooke, who used to be known as the stylish queen of reality TV and called herself the boss mom of basketball wives, didn't cry or break down. Instead, she gave a smirk as if she still believed she had control over everything. But what happened next was not just a simple fall from fame. It was the complete destruction of a brand that had been built on fake smiles, filters, and something much darker: the heartbreaking loss of her own daughter, Kayla Bailey. This whole story didn't begin inside a courtroom. It started on a cold, icy road. Kayla, who was just 25 years old, lost her life in a single car crash. At first, it seemed like a terrible accident. Brooke posted emotional messages online. She lit candles, shared tear-filled videos on Instagram, and told the world things like, "She was my heart." People from all over, including fans, celebrities, and influencers, shared in her grief. Everyone seemed to feel for her. But as always, the internet started to look deeper. And what people found didn't just make them question the story, it turned everything upside down. The first questions were about the car. The luxury SUV that Kayla was driving had expired registration tags. There was no record of insurance on it. The vehicle was owned by a shady company connected to Brooke's business dealings. That alone raised red flags. Then, people noticed something strange on one of Brooke's tribute posts. In a reflection in the window behind her, you could see her wrist. It wasn't shaking. It wasn't trembling like you'd expect from a grieving mother. Instead, it was steady, showing off her flashy diamond bracelet. And, most shocking of all, it looked like she was smirking. That was when things started to unravel. A woman who used to work for Brooke, let's call her Maya, came forward. At first, she kept her identity hidden. Maya said her real job had nothing to do with managing events or public relations. Her real duty was to clean up Brooke's online image. That meant deleting messages, faking the times of posts, and even writing emails pretending to be a heartbroken mother before the crash even happened. According to Maya, Brooke once told her, "If something goes wrong, I want attention, not pity." It sounded like something out of a movie villain's mouth. But this wasn't a film. This was real life, unfolding for the world to see. Brooke wasted no time. Just 3 days after Kayla's death, her team launched a new project called Sharosa. It was promoted as a support platform for mothers who had lost children. The website had donation links, touching stories, and even plans for a speaker series. But none of it was real. The donations couldn't be traced. The events never took place. The touching stories, they were made up. Then Kayla's friends started sharing private messages. They showed that Brooke had pushed Kayla to keep making videos and posts, even when Kayla didn't want to. One message from Brooke to Kayla read, "Pain is branding." Let that sink in. It wasn't about healing. It was about turning pain into a way to promote herself. The most damaging part came when investigators checked Brooke's records. They discovered she had received a notice to bring Kayla's SUV in for repair. There was a known brake problem that could be dangerous. But Brooke didn't do anything. She signed off on the notice, but left the car on the road. Why? According to people she spoke with, it was all about appearances. "Optics matter," she reportedly said. Kayla had spoken up about her worries. Friends said she was scared to challenge her mother. She feared being cut off. She knew Brooke ran everything. At that point, it was no longer just a tragic accident. It started to look like something that was, at the very least, carefully controlled and at worst, planned for Brooke's benefit. Investigators found a folder on Brooke's devices called Crisis Plan 1. Inside were drafted posts, replies for influencers, and even emails titled Redemption Arc if Kayla passes. Imagine having a redemption plan ready before your own child's funeral. As bad as that seemed, the situation got even darker. During the trial, when prosecutors played an audio file, the courtroom fell silent. Even the soft hum of the lights seemed to stop. Brooke's voice filled the room, steady and cold. "If she wants out, that's fine. But she needs to understand, being my daughter isn't a birthright. It's a role. No one moved. No one breathed. This wasn't the voice of grief. This was the voice of control. That recording came from a flash drive that Maya handed over. She walked into the courtroom, went straight to the prosecution, and said 2 simple words: "I'm done." The drive she gave them was full of proof: over 40 recordings, hundreds of emails, detailed plans, and a folder labeled Kayla Optics Prep. It showed that Brooke wasn't mourning. She was building a brand on her daughter's death. One video showed Brooke practicing how to cry for interviews, playing sad music in the background while she faked voice cracks. Another had her coming up with taglines for a product line, like "she's watching over me" and "turn pain into purpose." Even more chilling, there was a full presentation titled Grief Monetization Funnel. It laid out how to make money from sympathy. The emails were just as bad. Brooke's PR team offered different media packages: $150,000 for a sympathy interview, plans for faith-based retreats that doubled as business launches, and even ideas for a podcast or a book called From Grief to Grace: The Brooke Bailey Experience. The more evidence the prosecutors shared, the more the courtroom changed. Brooke's confident look faded. Outside, people gathered with signs. Some read, "Kayla didn't die, she was sold." Others showed Kayla's smiling face next to Brooke's chilling words: "Pain is branding." The world wasn't waiting for justice. It was demanding it. Then, the final piece surfaced: a small memory card from Brooke's media team. On it was a video, recorded a week before the crash. In it, Kayla cried, no filters, no edits, just real pain. "I'm scared," she whispered. "She's using me for things I don't believe in. I feel like a mascot for her tragedy." Her voice shook. "If anything happens to me, don't let her sell it." The courtroom froze. The judge paused. Even the prosecutors went quiet, letting the weight of those words fill the room. Kayla had tried to speak up, leaving behind journal notes, unfinished blog posts, and texts. She hadn't been silent. She'd been silenced. After that, brands ran from Brooke. Fashion Nova? Gone. Savage X Fenty? Gone. Even Shiroza disappeared, the website replaced by a government notice saying it had been seized. But Brooke didn't stop. From jail, she tried to launch a podcast called Life After Legacy. The court quickly shut it down, but the fact that she tried shocked everyone. Meanwhile, Kayla's voice became louder than ever. Her words appeared on signs, in chants, in viral clips. She became a symbol, a reminder of what happens when branding goes too far. People didn't see her as just a crash victim anymore. She became the face of a movement. And then came the judge's final decision. He leaned forward, looked Brooke straight in the eyes, and said it: life in prison. No parole. All brand assets seized. You are permanently banned from creating any business tied to your name or image. His words didn't echo like a gavel strike. They hit like a final nail in the coffin of her empire. Brooke didn't speak. She didn't beg. She didn't cry. She stood frozen. Then her legs gave out. She fell to the floor, one arm reaching out, like she was still trying to hold on to a story that was no longer hers. People said even then she tried to pose. Outside, the crowd's voices grew louder. Signs waved. Reporters rushed to cover the scene. Online, the hashtag Smirkgate trended again, this time with clips of her fall, edited in slow motion. But no one expected what would come next. The following morning, a file titled The Bailey Ledger Part 2 hit the internet. It was filled with shocking proof, screenshots showing influencers were paid to post fake tributes, records of payments, emails suggesting sponsored captions like "RIPK Kayla," "I didn't know you, but your light touched so many," all tied to Brooke's platform. The documents revealed even more. Plans for a memoir had started just 2 weeks after the funeral. Notes discussed Netflix deals, skincare lines called Legacy Glow, and meetings with investors for a lifestyle brand built around loss. One investor later said she was selling grief with a highlighter. Emails described a documentary series, wellness retreats, and candle lines shaped like angel wings. Public outrage grew. TV networks froze reality show filming. Influencers lost deals overnight. Lawmakers introduced the Kyla Bailey Act to protect children and dependents from being exploited for profit online. For the first time, grief as a business was being questioned by the government. And Brooke? She became the example of what not to do. Her name stopped being admired and started being seen as a warning. Parents of young influencers rethought contracts. Sponsors pulled out of family channels. The question people were too scared to ask before now echoed everywhere. How many more like Brooke Bailey are out there? Kyla's voice, once hidden behind filters and captions, was now at the center. Her last video played at rallies. It was turned into murals and printed on signs. Her words, "Don't let her sell it," became a national slogan, a reminder to protect real pain from being used as a product. And as for Brooke, locked away, no fans, no sponsors, no deals. Just silence, the same silence she once tried to use to control others. But this time, it was all that remained. Justice wasn't just done. It was seen, shared, and remembered. And now, every time someone clicks, watches, or shares the story, they're reminded of one thing: you can't build an empire on broken hearts. Not anymore. And in the end, what happened to Brooke Bailey wasn't just a courtroom sentence, it was the collapse of an entire image built on tragedy. The judge's words sealed her fate: life in prison with no parole, every business tied to her name taken away, and a permanent ban from ever using her image for profit again. There were no tears, no apologies, no final speech, just silence as she stood frozen, realizing the empire she tried to build on her daughter's pain had finally crumbled. Outside, the world watched. Protesters raised their signs high, chanting Kyla's words, "Don't let her sell it." The internet didn't just move on it, made sure the story stayed alive as a warning. Brooke's fall wasn't about one person. It was about what happens when grief is turned into a product, when someone's loss becomes a way to make money. Kyla's voice, once hidden behind fake captions and filtered posts, became the symbol of a movement. A reminder that real pain can't be packaged and real love can't be sold. So as we close this chapter, remember this: no brand is worth more than a life, and no story should be rewritten for profit. Let Kyla's voice keep echoing through every share, every comment, every view. Because at the end of the day, justice isn't just about punishment. It's about making sure the truth is seen, heard, and never forgotten. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, make sure to like, share, and comment below. Let's keep the conversation going, and let's make sure no one else tries to turn heartbreak into a brand ever again.